part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
Look up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane.
This is Jason J. Lewis, the voice of Superman on Justice League Action. This is Mark Wade, writer of Superman Birthright, and you're listening to the Krypton Report.
The following recording is the audio taking from the live that we did. The lives are going to be once a month specials, and there's more information to come. So it's a little bit different of an intro, so check it out.
What is up, James? Can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Welcome, everybody, to a live stream. We're a little later. Had some technical problems. Poor James' computer is being crap.
Yeah.
Weird error messages, and finally we were able to figure it out. He could pop up on his tablet. So he's here on his tablet.
Making it work.
Making it work. And this is something new we're going to try. If you're just joining us, I did post on our Facebook and on our Twitter the link if somebody did want to just jump in here on StreamYard and join us. The more the merrier. It'd be great. But we got a lot of cool things to cover. We'll start with some of the easier stuff first, and then we'll kind of move on from there. First of all, James and I talked about trying to do a live show similar to this once a month. That's our goal. And what's funny is we've had a really busy month, and here we are on the last day of the month, and we're getting it in. And also, we're like, I haven't done StreamYard in a while, so just little things I'm trying to remember and tweak. So bear with me as I work on this, because I want to make the show pretty sweet and dope. I'm a very visual person, so that's with that said, let's get into some of this stuff. Okay, first up, Superman Lois, big casting news. We have a new Lex Luthor, and my first thought was, okay, cool. I kind of hope they had done John Cryer similar to the vein of where they did Lucy, where they used the same actress, but they let her retool the character and everything and revamp it. So I was kind of hoping they'd, let John Cryer come back and do his Lex and retool it and revamp it. But James, why don't you tell us about, the new Lex and see what's up?
Well, you know what? Do you have his name there in front of you?
I do. It is over here on my other notes here.
That was the other thing I brought up here.
I didn't want to just call him Abraham, but
no, I mean that's what I know him as.
So Michael Cudlitz, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, Michael Cudlitz. I showed his picture to Jania, and she's like, okay, cool. Like, she is not familiar with him as Abraham from The Walking Dead, but yeah, he's going to be joining as Lex Luthor. What are your thoughts, man?
I've enjoyed him as an actor. He's done a lot of roles over the years. He's been a very he's ran his range, Yeah. He's done some comedy. He's done some serious stuff. When I saw him cast, I was like, yeah, let me see, Like, I'm definitely sure he's matured as an actor. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing this new Lex Luthor.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, my thing is, it's kind of that same thing about just diluting the property of like this person, but it's cool. It's also funny that this year's on Superman Lois season 3, the villains are both going to be from The Walking Dead. Both actors are coming over from The Walking Dead. So that's it's kind of funny, kind of unique, interesting thing. So yeah, that's going to be something.
Yeah, it's the newest Lex Luthor. How many? We have 3 in like 3 years. I mean, with John Cryer, he showed up earlier, but still, he was in there a couple years ago. Then we got Titus Welliver on Titans, and then we got this guy here.
Did Crier show up in season 4? Yeah, season 4 of Supergirl. So that'd been like what, 2018, right? It sounds right.
4. It ended in 20.
Yeah, it would be like 2018, 2019, depending on if it was like the first.
He
half.
showed up in the second half, so
it'd been like the start of 2019.
Yeah.
So I mean,
3 and 4 years. But he played it through, so it was still, it'll be 3 Lex Luthors in 3 years.
Yeah, it is what it is, but and we're gonna kind of use that to segue into. First of all, I'm excited for him. Like, let's see what he does. Like, Superman and Lois has been great, and we'll talk a bit more about Superman and Lois as we go forward in the show. But
yeah, it's been a great show. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing what they would do, because I think it would be a little different than what we have seen previously, but definitely some familiarities, I'm sure.
Exactly. So I'm just like, I'm game. The next thing is Titans and Doom Patrol have been canceled. We kind of predicted this and said this with all the changes and just the feeling that we're getting. It does suck that they're being canceled. I think Titans so far has found its footing the best this year than it has previously, but I guess this could be a good season to go out on, because it kind of circles back to things and threads that were in season 1. But we don't know. Like they're both on hiatus, with Titans expected to return in April. But it was officially canceled by HBO Max, and we kind of felt that was going to happen. But we did learn that this was already kind of decided before James Gunn had taken over, so it wasn't just a James Gunn call. And that it is sad. Titans has been good, but looking to the future, a more cohesive TV universe, just because what we're talking about, like we have a Lex.
Yeah, one of the reasons we went live tonight.
What's up, movie buff? So, yeah, I mean, it's a bummer, but it wasn't a shock. I wasn't like, crap.
Yeah, I mean, we're not. Yeah, it's not shocking that they are. I mean, Titans has had many stumbles along the way. Lots of great stuff, but and I do think that the beginning of this season was, in particular, very good for the show. So, I mean, am I sorry? Am I going to be sorry to see it end? Well, I mean, I'm sure, but it'd be nice to see if they give it a good ending. Finally nail it going out.
Yep, I agree. Stick to landing.
Yeah, absolutely. Since it definitely had 2 that didn't, and the last one was decent, but.
Yeah,
I mean, Doom Patrol. I think more people will be sorry to see it go, because it's pretty great. I mean, sometimes it's a little more of the same, but you should check out Titans. I mean, it's definitely more mature, a different take, but it is something that they did do with the book, trying to keep it. Or with the show, trying to keep it closer to like the original Titans run, where it's very character focused, which the show is, but it's also very, it's new.
Yeah. But so the one that I'm still like, I sent something to you the other day, is Pennyworth. Like, I'm still kind of like, so like that season 3 of Pennyworth was like super good. I know, Donovan, it's okay, buddy. Like it happens. There's a lot to go on, and I'm an addict. I was talking to one of my students about
this day is endless content. I'm not totally caught up on stuff either.
No, I think I'm the
CW. I'm really far behind.
I think the only thing I'm not, like, I always have my rule about, watch it all. Pennyworth, watch the first 5 episodes, skip to like the last 2 episodes of season 1, watch season 2, and then enjoy season 3 a lot. Naomi was the only show I kind of gave up on. I watched the pilot, and then I was like, nope. other than that, I've kept up with all the DC shows. So, but
I'm glad Stargirl season 3 is on HBO Max because that's coming up here shortly for me to watch.
Stargirl season 3 was amazing. That's the one I think that's hurt me the most. That's been canceled. Because it just every season got better and it was such a good show. Like the other shows I can feel like, oh, it sucks, they're canceled, but they've kind of started to run their race, but Stargirl just kept getting better and better and better, and now it's no more. But we kind of figured that was going to happen. Okay, moving on. We got a first look at a new Shazam poster that has Billy in the front looking awesome as Shazam. It's part of our cover art that we had pulled up here before everything started. But yeah, what did you think of the Shazam poster? Just seeing all the characters and everything.
The poster's pretty cool. I'm digging the suits. This movie, the suits look awesome. I mean, they look great last time, but they look a little more streamlined, not as padded for everybody. A little more design. I'm sure if you got a good look at it, you could probably see all kinds of little intricate things for it. The suits look really cool. The poster's pretty awesome. It's showcasing everybody, but it's not the same poster that we've been seeing for a long time. Like a big head and a bunch of little heads.
Yeah, it was a nice actual poster compared to, I don't know, just compared to like what we've seen, like being very, like we talked about, very like generic, and I don't know, just not really liked any of the posters and stuff that we saw, but I liked it. It has colorful. It doesn't look as dreary as some posters, where some posters look like pure Photoshop, but they don't even look like people. This looks better.
Yeah, you can at least, everybody looks like people. The colors, it's all different. Like you get to see the villains, you get to see the family, and you get to see like Mount Olympus and the dragon. And I think that shot looks really awesome.
Yes, we are going to be getting there, Donovan, because I have a theory on that. But here, I'm looking forward to them all too. Like I have nothing against them. I saw the toy. They released a picture of the Flash, the Spin Master toys of the Flash, that has the Batmobile with it. So it's the '89 Batmobile with a Batman and the Flash in like a box. And Sayla goes, "You're gonna get that for me, right?"
That looks cool. I like that little. I saw the car in it, and I was like, "Oh, that's a dope car."
I'm just like, I never had the '89 Batmobile toy.
This is a way to get it right now, I guess.
I know, like
without spending like a fortune.
My friend had the '89. I know. It's just I know. My friend I had one friend that had the '89. Yeah, there's our buddy right there. What's up? Hey. Nate says he looks forward to the future of the DC. I did have an '89 Batmobile Hot Wheels that was like metal. Like it was sweet. I still have it. It's on my shelf. I'll have to dig it out and send you a picture of it. But I had a friend that had the big '89 like 2-seater Batmobile, and then I had another friend who had the animated series Bat. That's dope right there.
The die cast I got at Lowe's, they had like all of them, but I could only get like one at the time. I was like, you know what? I'll just get that. I could have gotten just about any of them. 66,
I wanted
Forever, the Tumbler, the Affleck Batmobile. Like, I could have got any of them, and I went with that one.
I wanted all of them until I saw that they were like each like $14, and I was like, crap.
Yeah.
I'll find mine. It had an actual bat symbol on the top, and I colored over it when I was a kid with black marker because I'm like, that's not how it is in the movie.
Right.
Batman '89 is still the best. Yeah, it still is. Like I always said, like if I had to drive a Batmobile, I'd probably take the Affleck just because it's a mixture of '89 and the Tumbler and just be a beast. But you know what? I've come to like the new one for the Batman just as far as like a regular car. Like if I just had to have a regular car driving around. But if I was a billionaire, I'd probably just have them all and just drive around. But
yeah.
But we also saw the Funko Pops of the Flash and Shazam. They both have released images of the upcoming Funko Pops. I know Donovan here; he's a big Funko Pop guy. So I see, I'm not the only one. You got to make stuff look like the way it is in the movies. We get mad. We get mad when it doesn't look right.
I had a Batman Returns one. It looked just like the '89, of course, but it was like black and white. It was like striped. Yeah, it was all kinds of black and white. Like, I don't know if there's supposed to be the snow effect over it or something, but I mean, I rocked the hell out of it, Batman driving all over the place, but
yeah, I never had. So the first like large Batmobile toy that I ever had was the Forever Batmobile, because that was easier to find, and it was a sweet toy. Like I loved it. I wish I still had it, but my mom probably sold it in a garage sale. Rest in peace, garage sales. But you know what? We had the Batman and Robin one as well. And then it's crazy to think about. I had both those toys, and the next Batmobile is the Tumbler, and they never made it that I know of. Like the Batman, like those toys were so weird. I don't even remember a big Tumbler toy. But my kids got the big Affleck Batmobile, and they have the Pattinson Batmobile, so they're on the right track. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, they didn't market the Dark Knight trilogy with a lot of toys and stuff. Like I have the Bane, and it's like a little 4.5, 5-inch figure. It's like,
as far as those toys, I have the Joker, the nicer, like upscale Joker, and then I had the low scale Joker where he had a green suit. I had the Two-Face that was like a 4 or 5-inch Two-Face, and then I had like I got for Christmas, it was like a 2-pack from Walmart of a Bane and a Batman from The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah. Speaking of, I mean, I know that McFarlane's doing the Dark Knight line, and I'm definitely picking up that Bane too. And the image they released of that Batman doing the Dark Knight stance with the among the rubble, like they do a really awesome job making those little dioramas with the toys.
I want that, but I always hate that the Batman Begins suit gets overlooked and forgotten, because I really thought that was a great suit with a really great bat symbol that it doesn't get used. So I'm going to get that Batman. I have to get that Two-Face and the Scarecrow. Those are the three that I want from the Dark Knight trilogy line the most. But that's all the news I have, except now we're going to shift. We're going to talk about the Shazam trailer. James, how many times have you watched this trailer?
A few, about a handful.
Yeah. This is nothing against the movie, but I don't like the trailer. I didn't feel like this was a great second trailer. Parts of it are good. Like the way it starts, I feel is a little too long, with like the trying to build the intent, like the intimidation where we see Lucy Liu coming in and everything. And then, I feel like this trailer was cut. Like, we know the film's done, right? But it feels like they took the big action scene with the dragon at the end and just kept chopping it up and then cutting and pasting. Like every 10 seconds, throw another scene from that final big thing in the trailer because the flow, and I don't like the song. Like, it feels out of place. Like, the last trailer had the Eminem song that felt very upbeat, and you kind of went with it and gave you like this cool feeling. This song just feels very dour.
Well, I mean, if they're trying to match it, I mean, he keeps like take the powers back, this and that. They're like, you took the powers, they you stole them. We'll take them back.
Yeah, Donovan. Yeah.
And then there's like Freddy in peril a couple of times.
Freddy and Mary we see get their powers taken. It looks like the Daughters of Atlas are taking back all the power. And what sucks is like this would be a really good. Feels like it'd be a good film for somehow like this type of a villain for Black Adam to show up. And I think that's I think what really bothers me is like, they said that Dwayne turned down a chance to do a cameo in this movie. And I think that's just wrong. I mean, Black Adam goes with Shazam back and forth, and they're tethered together. And for them to both have a film, and for both films to come out like they are within 6 months of each other, and them not be present together is heartbreaking. But
yeah,
we see, like, it feels like the dragon scene is going to be the third act. They take the powers back, so it's just Shazam / Billy by himself. And he's got to stop the Daughters of Atlas. And it's exciting. Like, I'm excited for the film because I love it. But at the same time, I just felt like this trailer was just not the trailer that I wanted. Like, I didn't feel like I got anything really too much new out of it except for just I didn't come away feeling any different than I did the first trailer. I just felt like it was more of the same. I really wasn't.
I mean, I can say that. Yeah, it was like more of the same. But like you said, excited about it. And I mean, possible old regime dumb choices. It's very possible that we could look at some problems. Maybe hopefully some things got smoothed out. I don't know. There's a lot they do with editing and stuff. So
yes, I mean, I'm pumped for it. I mean, I know the kids are. We just did Solomon just did an unboxing video. I got the McFarlane Shazam, which is awesome. But I'm kind of bummed that here we are a little over a month away from the film, and they've only released the one figure. Like, that's it. Like, they're not doing the whole Shazam family line like I had hoped. They're not even doing the Daughters of Atlas. Like, I mean, we did every character for Black Adam. We did Sabak, Atom Smash, 2 different Atom Smashers. 3 Black Adams, Hawkman, Dr. Fate, Cyclone. Like, we did them all. And here we are, the Shazam. We just got just Shazam, and it's a little upsetting. I'll be honest. Like, with everything they're turning out, I mean, they haven't done a film. We'll see. McFarlane's had the licensing now for. They did the.
Unless for some reason, I think I'm pretty sure they did, but unless for some reason they didn't, or they're holding things back for the movie, but I don't.
Maybe. I mean, because maybe it's just, you know what I'm saying? Like, McFarlane's had the licensing, and they did the film. They did the Zack Snyder's Justice League, which was their first film adaptation, right?
Yeah.
And they did every character for that. They did the Batman, and I think we have them all but Catwoman. They did like 4 or 5 figures for that. We have Riddler, Penguin, and Batman. And then Black Adam. And we have Black Adam, Hawkman, and Dr. Fate, so for them to just do Shazam himself, it's kind of a letdown. It's a dope figure, not gonna lie. Like, I have it. It's the closest that Batman, Black Adam, or Superman, Black Adam, and Shazam will come to being together right there on my shelf.
It's right on your shelf.
So, okay. So that takes us into, the big news. The reason why we decided to go live today is we're like, do you want to talk about it? And I said, no, I don't want to sit there and like just talk in our Facebook Messenger about it. I'm like, bro, let's talk. Like, I don't want to.
I just asked for some insights. Like, I didn't. I assumed this is what we were gonna do. We were trying to figure out what we wanted to do and go live, and then I think this just kind of was a perfect moment.
Yeah, it was. I do want to say our next episode proper recording, you'll actually hear a message from Brian, our good pal, Man-Child of Steel. He dropped me his thoughts real quick, and I've incorporated that, and I've incorporated Solomon's thoughts into our next proper episode of the podcast. So today, James Gunn dropped basically a video of him talking, and then there's been other news sources that have come out with information regarding everything. So, yeah, I'm just pulling up what I have here.
Yeah, kind of got the upcoming DC Universe slate, 10 projects, and I guess just a part of Chapter 1.
Yes. So, yeah, he said Chapter 1, this is part of what I can share with you now. Donovan says, I'm hopeful for James's take on the DC Universe. I'm hopeful too. I'm always hopeful.
We just want to see it do good. We want to see it do well.
Yes, we're going to get into that. 5 films, 5 TV series, first part of Chapter 1. Because
God
there's a couple
and monsters.
And I don't really think people have posted, like, it doesn't have to do with the Gods and Monsters movies. It's just the idea. It's a name to hook, kind of hook you, because, when he announces what they're actually doing, it's very interesting. And we're going to go kind of beat by beat here. But first thing he stated was he's excited for what's rest of this year. And some key takeaways that I pulled off was, one, he says The Flash is great. And he says it's going to reset the universe. Okay, cool. All right. He talks about...
Pretty easy to do with The Flash.
Right, which makes sense. We've said that all along. That's the perfect movie to kind of buffer these two, much like Justice League, Apocalypse War into the Tomorrowverse.
Mm-hmm.
The next thing he stated was Shazam. He was talking about it, but he stated, this is what was interesting. He says, Shazam's always been kind of off on its own. And when you're doing these type of press junkets or anything like that, wording is extremely important. So that can mean that, hey, we're going to keep Shazam if it does well. If Shazam 2 does well and all that, because we haven't had any of the Shazam family, like, characters properly with any other actors. Now, granted that everyone thinks that there's a Wonder Woman cameo in the film. There might be. We don't know. We don't know what's been done in editing. But I'm just going by what he's stating here in his wording, that has always been off on its own, doing its thing. And then he says Aquaman at the end of the year. Cool. Except it runs into, once again, we have no idea cameos in films. Things could have been changed and altered by now. But there was a quote from Peter Safran about Aquaman 3, a potential Aquaman 3, okay? And the thing says, though nothing was officially confirmed, Peter Safran did drop a telling hint when asked whether Momoa would be sticking around as Arthur Curry. Quote, Jason always saw Aquaman as a trilogy, end quote. The Game of Thrones alum has been expressing his excitement about taking on a new role in the DC universe via social media. There were trade reports that he may be also in line to play Lobo. All James Gunn would offer was, I will say we won't have an actor playing 2 different roles. So Donovan's saying he heard the door was open for. My thing with that is, okay, if the Flash is going to reboot things, so with Aquaman just get labeled, if they did an Aquaman 3, and this is what I think a lot of us need to kind of look at, is Gunn said that he wanted to be upfront that anything that's not part of their main story will be properly labeled DC Elseworlds.
Yeah.
So I expect that we'll get a really cool intro and logo for DC Elseworlds films. And right now that includes The Batman Part 2 coming October 3rd, 2025, which is great because Solomon will be 10 and I'll be 40. So thank you. And then would that mean that something like Aquaman 3 would be brought into and be labeled Elseworlds? You know, if they did do a Wonder Woman 3 with Gal, would that be Elseworlds? And that's also going to go on to, because he talks about, as he moves into his actual, more of his slate, he talks about how we're going to have animation, film, game, all of it's going to tie together. So would our current, DC, the animated films that we talk about and we enjoy constantly, would those just be labeled as Elseworlds films now? Even the continuity,
considering
the Tomorrowverse would be Elseworlds films, whether they're connected. Because he says Teen Titans Go, which is the show that'll never end. My kids are on a resurgence with Teen Titans Go right now. They've rediscovered it and they've been watching it straight through.
Oh man. I assume. Things he pointed out specifically was the Batman, Todd Phillips, the Joker, Teen Titans Go. And then he's talking about how animation, TV, films, and he even specified games, if it serviced the overall story. That would be difficult with the straight to home DC animation that we've enjoyed for so long.
Like I said, they just keep on going and just label it Elseworlds films, because he didn't talk about anything like that. And there's a few things that weren't mentioned, but he also shared that this wasn't the entire plan, the entire slate or first phase or chapter 1. It's because there's a few things we'll bring up.
The last project he spoke of, I don't know if he said 2025.
No, we'll get there. There's no timeline. Okay, and we're going to get there as we break through here.
There is only one date.
2 dates, technically. You have Batman and you have another. But, so, listen to him talk, and based on the knowledge that we had, okay? So he said the first thing out the gate, and I believe this will be next year. I believe this will be 2024 right here. Creature Commando, which are characters I'm not familiar with at all, but they're going to be animated. It's going to be an animated series. Sounds like it's going to be on HBO Max, because he does drop HBO Max twice in the conversation. And he mentions that people that voice the characters will also be their live-action iterations through animation. So I have to do some research here on Creature Commando.
Well, right. Gunn said he wrote it.
Yeah.
He said he wrote it. And in the animation frame or still or whatever it might be, maybe just concept, Weasel is there, played by Sean Gunn in the Suicide Squad.
And see, this is why I say this is 2024, because both of the projects that he names right here were stuff that he was already in development working on after the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker, before he got this job. So hold on one second. Let me get some water. Water's good.
So is margarita.
I want to say I think so, but I need to revisit Batman Brave and the Bold, and hopefully tomorrow it'll pop up somewhere else like Netflix or something, because it was leaving HBO Max. I don't own the whole series. I just have seasons 1 and 2.
I don't own either of those series that are supposed to be gone.
I own all of Justice League Unlimited. I bought the Blu-ray 2 years ago when it was on sale for the complete series.
I need to.
It was the same way like when I bought the Legion. It was just on sale. It was cheap, whatever. So the next thing is Waller. And it's a TV series on HBO Max. It's going to incorporate the actors and the people from Team Peacemaker. So this is, he had announced before. We knew this was kind of coming down his pipeline. So this is why I say this is kind of him funneling out what he had already started, what was already in the works, and maybe kind of ending the universe as is. My thought about this is Waller going to be the kind of sidequel season 2 of Peacemaker, or are we still going to get an official Peacemaker season 2? Because he says Viola Davis is back, and she's amazing as Waller. So we're going to get that
fantastic show. Plus, we get a show creator from Watchmen and Jeremy Carver from Doom Patrol.
And he also was involved
on this show
with Supernatural. Jeremy Carver was years ago.
Was he one of the many showrunners?
He was. He took over, I think, season 6, 7, 8, somewhere in that bracket. Especially, I think, towards the end, that's why that one character was Carver Edlin in season 5. So he says Viola for sure. He talks about Team Peacemaker. So we know those are going to carry on those characters. But then the big thing he says is the true beginning of the DC universe. So his true new universe will start July 11th, 2025 with Superman Legacy. And it's a film. Now, for people who are saying that, they're going to recast Hit and Hair stuff here because they have Viola Davis, it's still more of the same. Well, my thing is, that's why I say that show's ending kind of the universe, because he says the true start of the new DC universe is here. And if you look at what he builds out from here, he's not rehashing characters that we already know. He's not talking about bringing back characters. It's him talking about a new Superman. And I have the quote here. About what this Superman kind of is. So hold on one second. Let me pull this up. This is from Variety. Set to open July 11th, 2025, Superman Legacy will mark the start of the DC universe, as Safran put it. But it will not be an origin story or the proverbial Man of Steel. It focuses on Superman balancing his Kryptonian heritage with his human upbringing. Safran said he is in the embodiment of truth, justice, and the American way. And he is his kindness in a world that thinks his kindness is old-fashioned. My thought is, we know it's going to be a younger Superman and a younger actor. And, 2025 is only 2 years away. So we know that we're going to have traction with it soon. We'll probably be seeing casting sometime this year for it. If they're going to, and they'll be filming it next year. So, it's going to move quick. And we know it's a younger Superman. So that's the start of where they're going to start creating and crafting their DC universe. So, there's a lot of stuff I feel like that's going on that we don't know about. And I'm not going to hypothesize about a lot of it because there really isn't. I can go on and we could go down a lot of rabbit holes.
Honestly, at this point, that's really all it is. This is the most news we've gotten since, the over-marketing of BVS. This is the most DC news we've gotten for anything. So it's really hard to say what happens. I think we'll be able to say some more or give some better thoughts after maybe The Flash, or see what comes down the line here. A new Superman movie. The interesting thing, because it's not going to be that, it's not going to be the same, but he had recently posted about reading All-Star Superman and Grant Morrison, and that's also the image they used for like this promotion. I don't see that actually playing like the role.
See, that's I was
like
going to ask
the
you that
story that they're adapting, but
that was something I was going to ask you as we went along, because it also comes back to a couple others down the line. Is I don't really think that the images they pulled represent the stories that they're using. I think they just like the images and something in the images to being different or striking, or like with All-Star, that's such a classic, great image of kind of a Superman that we all love, and the image that we all love and cherish in a way. So I could see them using that. I don't think of anything really that's in All-Star that you could pull for like a new Superman, much in the way that the Batman
was the end of Superman.
Right. Much in the way that the Batman is year 3, and kind of the way they're talking about this Superman film kind of makes me of like Superman Homecoming, where like Spider-Man Homecoming wasn't his origin, but it was like the early part of him becoming Spider-Man. And it was like he was going along, but he was already doing Spider-Man stuff. So I kind of feel like it's kind of in that type of a vibe. So that's the big one. And then we're going to jump to TV with the HBO series Lanterns, which is described as a true detective type story with a story element inside of it that's going to encompass the much larger story they're going to tell across all the mediums with all their stories, all their movies and TV. And it's going to be with Hal and John. And
like a buddy cop.
And they said it's going to be, there's going to be other Lanterns sprinkled in there. And I say, sweet. So we know, we can pretty much say that anything that Abrams had ever talked about trying to do is done, because it's been like 3 or 4 years. I think at least 3 years since he signed on, and he's produced nothing.
I was going to say, wasn't that about 2018 that JJ signed on, or was it 2019?
I feel like it was 2018.
I think it was.
I feel like it was. So he's done nothing. So the Lanterns have always been getting kicked around, but I think this is great. Your two biggest Lanterns known are Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan. I think Hal Jordan, being the older Hal Jordan, who's, just as like this a little bit more mature, older, seasoned Lantern, Jon Stewart being a little younger, not much, but then you could sprinkle in, because of how the Lanterns work, Guy could appear, Kyle. I personally think Jessica Cruz is a great character that could be brought up just for, more female awesome characters and diversity. Like, she's a great character to bring in.
Simon Baz and Jessica Cruz would be perfect additions to two younger core members, both from diverse backgrounds.
And you can always, there's always the idea of, there's a world they're a part of. It doesn't have to be the origin, because we know that Simon's origin ties to Sinestro creating his own ring and all that. And, of course, you can tweak things. So that sounds amazing, okay? I think Jon Stewart's really due for a great live-action version, so I am extremely excited and pumped to see what becomes of Jon. Now, the next one is a film. And if you notice, this is where you start to see this pattern of TV, of film, TV, and so on.
Well, it's really nice because you can focus down one lane while the other one's coming up behind, and as soon as that one drops, your focus shifts to this one, riding it out, and then back and forth like that.
And he said they have an 8 to 10 year plan that they're working out. He said this is chapter 1, and that Superman comes out in 2025. That's it on dates. After that, we have no idea if this is all 4 things are coming 2025, or if it's 2025, 26, 27. We don't have a timeline of anything else yet. Okay? And Donovan says that JJ signed in 2019. Okay. So the Authority film. Now, I'm not familiar with any of the characters of the Authority other than the one we met when we read Superman and the Authority. Just doing a quick look and a quick study, I feel like this could be your more harder R type film, more in the vein of like The Boys or something, or like he described it as doing superheroes in a different way, which is interesting because I feel like that's kind of what DC's been doing with all their properties, and that's why they weren't connecting as much with mass audiences. But the Authority film, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Apollo and Midnighter, we know of them.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I'm just like, okay. I mean, you know, that goes back to what I was saying, like, he's not pulling out all these big characters yet. Then we go back to TV with Paradise Lost, and it's a show about the Amazons.
Live action.
Yeah, on HBO Max. He said HBO Max. He describes it as like Game of Thrones style show. And then in my personal notes here, I kind of put like, that could be really awesome if like Hippolyta is the main character.
Like this is before Diana.
Yeah,
Henry Cavill for Apollo. I would watch that.
Yeah,
I would be all in.
So yeah, totally. Like before Diana, she could be created. I think a subplot that I think would be really great in the story, which I loved in the comics more recently. I think it was part of the New 52, was the sons of the Amazons. That whole storyline and about how Amazons created more Amazons, where if they originally the Amazons, if they had boys, they would kill the boys. And then what happened was Hephaestus basically started trading weapons for their male children. And Hephaestus was taking the sons of the Amazons and raising them. And I think that's a really cool storyline because I think there's a lot of dark history with the Amazons, building them up to the Amazons that we kind of know from the other films and stories, with some really interesting ground to play on.
Well, it depends on what kind of Amazonian mythology they use, because if you bring in some of the real world like Amazonian mythology, it gets real dark that way too.
I mean, yeah.
So
and it's called Paradise Lost for a reason.
Yeah.
So thanks, Donovan. Thanks, buddy. You know, we hear that the Amazons were betrayed by the gods. They were enslaved. So all that could be built into the show. And I think also, I mean, one of the coolest things was the idea that on Themyscira was the portal to the underworld, and that they were guarding the underworld. So that's a really cool storyline that could be brought out there. Now, some more water for this next one. Batman, Brave and the Bold.
This one's really interesting. The idea of Damian Wayne being Robin.
Well, Brian's upset about this because he's like, how are you going to not do Dick? How's Dick? Okay, hold on.
I'm sure he's going to be Nightwing at this point.
Because Gunn states this is the start of the Bat family. So to me, that means that they're wanting to do more with those characters and not be tethered to having an origin story. So my thought is Dick's going to be already Nightwing, and he could appear in this film, or there could be a Nightwing movie in the works because we don't know the whole slate. And he did say this is the introduction to the DC Universe Batman. Okay? So this is when we're going to get our new Batman, our reboot Batman, that's going to be part of these connected property.
Well, this is this is Batman after any crisis, any reboot they've ever had. Batman has never had a hard reboot when it comes to it. Batman has always just continued to plot along, and the stories kept moving forward, even if they were rehashed in different ways. And the Bat family has only continued to grow. So, I mean, jumping in with the father-son, it's a very interesting dynamic. And Damian is pretty widely used in the DC universe, comics. He was in the last animated universe.
You know, Gunn said that, they're going to pull it's going to be about Batman and his son. And he talked about Damian because he really likes Damian. And I think Damian's a great character. He's a great foil for Bruce, being kind of this extremist. But if this is the start of the Bat family, it doesn't negate that there could be Tim Drake as Red Robin or Tim Drake at all. But what I find interesting is they're pulling from the Grant Morrison Batman and Robin run, which is a great run. But in that, Dick is Batman. You know, the image that he pulled and he used was from that run. Well, in that run, Dick Grayson is Batman. So I find that interesting that they're inspired in using that. But he also says Batman and his son. So it's going to be Bruce and Damian, but they're inspired by the Dick and Damian story. So that's why I think people need to calm down a little bit with like what imagery they've paired with these stories. Because you can read a book and be inspired by it, but it doesn't mean you're sticking to that book. So, just saying, I'm excited about it.
I mean, I don't think the movies and stuff. You know, I don't think that like some things will work better as like a 1-to-1, whereas other things work better as an adaptation or inspired by.
Right, and. So I like the idea, like if you open the film up with like Batman and Nightwing or whatever, and you know, there's this kind of like a flashback or whatever, and you bring in Damian as being the new Robin because Dick's moved on or something. He's Nightwing and Batman doesn't have a Robin. I mean, it's very interesting what you can do with the characters. I'm just excited to actually see Batman and Robin in a film on screen together again.
Yeah, the last time we had it was 1997, Batman and Robin.
And even then, it was called Batman and Robin. And the movie didn't focus on them two, why it splintered off with Batgirl. I mean, he had the Nightwing suit with a cape painted red. I mean, come on. Like, they really did us wrong with that, you know? And we've had Robin on Titans, who then became Nightwing, and we had a second Robin. And we're kind of having a third Robin on Titans. But to see Batman and Robin, the dynamic duo, on the big screen will be amazing. So I'm excited. I'm really excited for that and for whatever new version of Batman.
Yeah, I'm excited for the idea because, especially with the idea that everything is supposed, as much as possible, is supposed to be connected with the animation side as well as the TV. And the films, we could see more Bat family spread across the different mediums. You know, we don't have to just see Batman and Robin in the film and then pull in a Nightwing or a Batgirl or anything. They could have something else for them specifically, and then they will have those cameos.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of look what Gunn's idea was back when he did the Suicide Squad, which we will be reviewing in a commentary on our Patreon soon. Look for that within the next week or so. And then Peacemaker, from movie to film, from film to movie. And it's seamless with these characters. So he was already kind of plotting his idea there. The next is Booster Gold on TV, on HBO Max. So right there, film, TV. This is fine. I think Booster Gold is a character that's deserved to be on TV. I think it would be a lot of fun, especially with like how we, I could see Brian stated this too, like seeing Booster Gold use a lot of social media. And
I heard people already saying Chris Pratt's going to be Booster Gold on HBO Max.
I mean, but for all we know, like, man, this could be like this could be 2027, 2028 by the time this is. We don't know what our time frame for Chapter 1 is.
No.
Because, okay, the next big one is the film for Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, basically. It's going to be based off the Woman of Tomorrow comic. And Gunn talked about reading Tom King's run, which we was going to review. It was on our summer reading already before this. And he was talking about just the differences with Supergirl, and I was like, sweet, that's awesome. And by the time that comes around my daughter will be probably like 8 to 10 years old, so she'll be at the perfect age to really get into that film. But I don't think it's going to be Sasha. I mean, we don't know. None of this has any talk about casts or who or how it connects, other than the idea that this is part of the clean slate in a sense. So, Sasha might just be like the Supergirl of another Earth that's out there, But hey, that's 2 Kryptonian films up front, man. 2.
So excited for that. Yeah, so excited for that.
The last big thing was, he didn't say what it was going to be, but I hypothesized it's for TV, because he didn't say it's going to be on TV. I actually watched the video like 3 times, and I watched it with the caption on from DC's official site and everything. But it's going to be Swamp Thing, and it's going to be a dark horror with dealing with the character's origins. So I'm wondering if somewhere in there is where maybe we could possibly, breed out our Justice League Dark. So, I theorize it's going to be on TV, just based on the pattern and everything. But it could be a film as well, but it's not stated.
It does say film.
Huh?
Yeah. On the bottom of the thing, it says TV, live action, TV, animation, film. It says film. You can't see; it's too bright.
Yeah,
it
but
film.
Did it come from
the
his
Swamp
mouth?
Thing film?
Did it come from his mouth?
Well, it is titled on the bottom. It says Swamp Thing film.
Where?
I am at 5 minutes 2 seconds on the video.
Gotcha. Well, I'll check. But hey, if it's a film, great. So.
And I've watched it 3 times, but now you got me second guessing it.
Oh, dude, like I said, I watched everything he said. I see what you're saying about it saying film at the bottom. But yeah, he didn't say it, so I was just like, oh, okay. But it doesn't matter. It's still going to be awesome.
Oh, yeah. I am very excited for Swamp Thing. Swamp Thing's always been a very a very likable character. I've always enjoyed Swamp Thing. I watched the movies when I was young, Wes Craven and Return of Swamp Thing. I watched those when I was young. I watched the animated series. I even saw some of the show.
The 90s show was cool. It was on USA is what I remember. And I think I have the first season on my hard drive.
Ooh, nice.
It was Dick Durock again as the Swamp Thing and everything. But, at that time, he didn't have the ability to do the stuff that he can now. And
right.
The Swamp Thing TV series that was on DC Universe was awesome. It was just, it was literally building up to be more amazing. And what I like about the idea of a Swamp Thing film is the budget of being able to just see things grow on him transform, and do like the different versions of Swamp Thing we've seen, where like Jania's Swamp Thing toy over here, like the big one, with the antlers, like the Scott Snyder looking thing with the wings. Do like the cactus one, or like the one that looks more like a tree, like the old toys from the 90s and stuff.
Yeah.
Solomon asked me, Solomon goes, "Can I watch Swamp Thing?" I said, "The CW broadcast, you can."
Right? Yeah, yeah. That show, that's the one show that I have. The stuff that came out on DC Universe and the things that are still playing out. That's the one show that I have. I bought that on Blu-ray. It came with a digital code. I have the whole series on digital as well. And it's one I can put in anytime. It was great. I loved it. It was so good.
I wish I had the digital code. I wish I would have bought it on Blu-ray, but I found it just cheap on DVD for Black Friday, and I just snatched it up. And I was like, because I wanted to own it because It wasn't anywhere. It's still not streaming. It's the only DC like recent universe property or whatever that's not streaming anywhere. Like it just disappeared. I mean, it's on the CW seed, I think, or the CW, but it's the edited version. It's not what was aired on DC Universe. And I think Janine and I will be redoing that. And I mean, whenever this movie comes out, we'll probably do a whole Swamp Thing with stories. We'll look at the pilot of the 90s series. We'll cringily watch the old films. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's so rough. But let's see. Things that he didn't really talk about. He didn't mention Peacemaker Season 2. There was no mention of the Arkham or Penguin series that are part of Matt Reeves' Elseworlds. There is nothing about the DC animated films like we talked about. So there was nothing talked about with the Caped Crusader Batman that's supposed to be coming this year or next year that they were looking at shopping around. And there's nothing about My Adventures with Superman. So I'm hoping those are all still something that we're going to be getting, but there was no mention of that coming at all, which is fine because this was about presenting new things. But that's just stuff that's like, that feels like they could still happen compared to some of the other things that have been talked about or whatever that I feel like will never happen.
Yeah. Well, the one thing that I still want to happen, unlikely, at this point it seems, is Young Justice Season 5.
Yeah, I after reading Final Crisis just recently and things that they dropped in Young Justice last season, I'm like, God, that would have been, or I say just give us a Young Justice movie, like an hour and a half movie, animated film. Just give us that, and do that.
Well, the thing that they did, that the writers of Young Justice did specify, is they would never really put an end on it. That it would feel like, because I think the idea with the passage of time in the show is that, the passage of time continues even after the show, which I think is fine. But I think you would want to leave it in a better place without such a dire cliffhanger with Black Mary and Kara on Apocalypse as Darkseid's Furies. Like, I mean, come on. I mean, that was such a freaking high note to end on, and it's like
finally something was silent. Something was going to be done where I would have Supergirl and Superboy together in a show, and it was going to be like evil Supergirl, but now I'm nothing because for some reason I can never get Superboy and Supergirl in anything together so that my kids can watch it and both be happy. Nope, that can't ever happen. All right. Now, on to the next thing. The future of the CW series was revealed by the pair at a press conference, which laid out their initial development slate. When asked about Superman and Lois, Gunn said, "It's a show that everybody likes, so it's going to keep going for a little bit. It's expected to go for 1 or 2 more seasons, according to James Gunn and Peter Safran. 1 or 2 more seasons. So it might end 2025?
But just before Superman Legacy comes out?
That's what I'm thinking. It makes sense. You have this hit that everyone likes. It's carrying over, this major character. And before you roll out your new one, that show ends. Because, look, we're in 2023. Season 3 starts. It says 1 to 2 more seasons. So we could get, season 4 in 2024. And then that could be the end of the show. Or we get a season in 2025, and then it's kind of like that Superman ends and Legacy Superman begins. That makes sense if to give us a little bit more to hold out with that show and wrap it up then. Now, my favorite quote is this. Gunn and Safran were also asked about the fate of the upcoming CW series Gotham Knights. Neither of them had a comment. Yeah, I don't think it's going to last. I feel like somewhere it's already been canceled. Like, just they are contractually obligated to release it, or something much like we had that feeling about, Naomi being canceled and all that stuff. Like, so and I'm not trying to be a downer. I'm just saying in general, like, I feel like it's just gonna happen.
There's no hype for the show.
But
there's just no hype for the show. Like, I think every time like I said it, every time a new trailer comes out or something, and we keep talking about it, or new, talking about Misha Collins's Two-Face, like, every time something comes out, it's like, oh yeah, that's still coming, and it's almost like that. It's almost like that for anybody else that I listen to. They're like, oh yeah, Gotham Knights is still coming, because hey, this new information, this new trailer, this new whatever. It's just not. I think it just keeps dropping off everybody's radar because there's yeah.
Like the day after it premieres, they'll be like, and this is canceled.
Yeah.
Kind of like Powerless. Remember Powerless, the show that nobody remembers?
I own that show. I think it's hilarious.
You do? I want it.
I do. Yeah.
I want it because I enjoyed the first bits of it. So
yeah, it was really funny. I mean, it wasn't anything. It was not groundbreaking or anything. It was just kind of over the top. But
it would have been better if they hadn't all of a sudden turned it into, like, felt like it was a spiritual successor of Batman 66, and like
right.
and added Van Wayne and just kind of kept more of the tone they had initially.
Yeah, I mean, Alan Tudyk is fantastic. He's always great no matter what he does. But even playing a character as one note as that, like, that was just something that didn't. He didn't end up being. He didn't end up being Michael from The Office, where he made you cringe, but you still,
Yeah.
Like, he wasn't that.
Yeah, exactly.
It didn't land that. It didn't land like that.
It did not. I'm looking to see if the library has it out of curiosity. But, yeah, so that's the slate. That's the news. And we'll be back, here soon with our regular scheduled episodes. But this was our live, so look for our regular episodes to drop here shortly. So I'm Tyler, the Superman of Blue. This is my technically challenged friend. Poor
Come on.
It was a rut.
2 Suicide Squad movies, both of them just wrought with technical error, technical difficulties. Tonight...
We've had some rough stuff recently, but it's all good. We figure it out. If anyone hasn't checked out, on our Patreon, we just dropped our commentary for Wonder Woman 1984, and we realized that movie is extremely boring and dull. And during the process of watching that film, Jamie, his girlfriend, fell asleep. Jania, my wife, fell asleep, and so did James's daughter and my daughter, Sayla, who came down and was... So that just proves that there's some issues with that film.
And Jamie likes that movie.
So, and we kind of talked about the good and the bad with it and everything. So it's...
yeah. There's like we said, there's a lot of good parts, but it just doesn't... It's not the sum of its parts.
Well, of course, Donovan, we'll let you know. We want to do this, and since this kind of went well, we'll be highly promoting whenever our next one is. Like I said, in February, probably towards the end of the month. Probably start doing these maybe more towards like the end of every month to keep up consistency. So from us here, thanks everybody for being part of things, and remember,
if you are like Tyler and James and can't get enough super talk, Check out these other podcasts: Digging for Kryptonite, Supergirl Radio, The Last Sons of Krypton, the Superboy Legacy Podcast, All-Star Superfans, Superman the Animated Podcast, The Aspiring Kryptonians, Always Hold On to Smallville, The Geek of Steel, and Truth, Justice, and Hope.
Remember to check out Krypton Report on all social media platforms. Go to linktree.com/Krypton Report. You find out all of our information. $1 a month. You'll get extra special content that you don't get on the main show, like movie commentaries and whatever else comes out of our mouths. So check it out, patreon.com/Krypton Report.
This is Dan Jurgens, and if you want to have a good time, keep listening to the Krypton Report.
Look up in the sky.
We just want to say, if you've enjoyed this podcast, please check out other podcasts on the Press Play Podcast Network.